For 60 years, no one knew what my grandmother kept in that box under her bed. Not my mother, not my grandfather, no one. Until the day she called me, her eyes filled with tears. And she said the words that changed everything. Today, you will find out why I never married for love. What she showed me that rainy afternoon was so shocking that it still gives me goosebumps when I remember it. A revelation no family can imagine. A secret that explains why some grandmothers keep their hearts so silent. If you're also curious about the mysteries our grandmothers take to their graves, subscribe to the channel to discover untold stories that will touch your heart deeply. You won't want to miss what's to come. Today, I'm going to share this secret with you for the first time. Prepare your heart, because some truths we only understand when we're ready. Grandma Rosa's house had smells that no longer exist in the world. The smell of bar soap melting on the stove. The smell of clothes ironed with a hot iron. The smell of coffee brewed on a flannel that woke up the entire neighborhood. But there was a scent that had intrigued me since I was little. A sweet, sad perfume that came from her room, especially when she opened the drawer of her antique dresser. Grandma Rosa was not like the other grandmothers I knew. She didn't tell stories of princes and princesses. She didn't sing nursery rhymes. When asked about the past, she changed the subject too quickly. Pass the sugar, daughter. Look at what a beautiful sky today. Go get the eggs from the hen house. Always escaping. Always holding back something that hurt. I grew up thinking every grandmother was like this, silent about her own heart, until I discovered that mine was hiding the biggest secret a woman can carry. The house stood at the end of the dirt road. It was small, but arranged with the care of someone who makes simplicity their altar. Every corner had its function, every object its sacred place. In the kitchen, the wood-burning stove that never got cold. In the living room, the Singer sewing machine that sang every afternoon. In the backyard, the chickens that knew her voice better than anyone. And in the room, in the room was the iron bed with the crocheted bedspread, the wooden wardrobe that creaked when opened, and under the bed, pushed all the way back, a dark wooden box. This box has been calling me since I was a child. It was the size of a shoebox, but it felt bigger. It felt important. It felt forbidden. Grandma Rosa cleaned around it every week. She dusted it carefully, but she never opened it in front of anyone. She never explained what was inside. One day, when I was about 12 years old, I asked, in the innocence of someone who doesn't know that some questions see, "Grandma, what box is that under your bed?" She stopped sweeping. She looked at me with a look of alarm in her eyes, as if I'd touched a nerve she'd forgotten existed. It's just some old stuff, my dear. Unimportant paper." But I saw her hands tremble. I saw her swallow hard. I saw her change the subject too quickly to be true. That's when I knew. That box held more than just old paper. It held pieces of a life she couldn't tell. The years passed, and curiosity grew with me. Grandma Rosa was widowed early. At least that's what the whole family knew. That Grandpa Joao died of pneumonia when my mother was still a baby. That she raised 3 children alone. That she worked from dawn to dusk to ensure she had everything she needed. The heroic story everyone told. The strong woman who overcame tragedy. But I could see there were holes in this narrative. When someone mentioned Grandpa John, she didn't feel sad like the other widows. She felt strange, uncomfortable, like someone who doesn't want to remember something they'd rather forget. One time, my aunt brought an old photo to show the children. "Look here, guys. This is Mommy when she was young, and this is Daddy." Grandma Rosa snatched the photo from her daughter's hand so quickly that it even scared her. "Keep this photo, Nutza. No need to mess with old things." But I saw it. I saw her eyes well up. I saw her hands shake. I saw her leave the room without explanation. That day, I understood. Grandpa Joao was not a sweet memory. He was a poorly healed wound. At night, when everyone was asleep, I would hear her crying softly in her room, a suppressed, stifled cry, like someone who had learned to suffer in silence. I'd stand on tiptoe and peek through the crack in the door. She was always sitting on the edge of the bed, something in her hands, something I couldn't quite see in the darkness, but it always went back under the bed. It was always kept with the care of someone guarding a treasure or a terrible secret. Neighbors said that Grandma Rosa never had a boyfriend after becoming a widow. She is faithful to João to this day, they said. True love is like that. You don't forget. But I felt it wasn't fidelity. It was something heavier, sadder, as if she carried a guilt no one could understand. One afternoon, I came home early from school. I found her sitting in the porch chair, a letter in her hand. She was crying so hard, she didn't even notice I'd arrived. I hid behind the door and watched. She read and reread that yellowed paper. She kissed it. She pressed it to her chest. And she cried like someone who's lost someone for the first time. When he saw me, he wiped his face too quickly. You're early today, my daughter. Grandma, are you okay? Yes, I am. I just remembered something sad. But she hid the letter in her blouse and never spoke of it again. That's when I understood. Grandma Rosa wasn't just keeping memories of Grandpa João. She was keeping secrets about him. Secrets she couldn't even share with her own family. I was 22 years old when Grandma Rosa called me for a different conversation. It was a rainy afternoon, the kind that makes you stay quiet inside, listening to the sound of drops on the tin roof. The kind of afternoon that invites you to confess secrets. Sit here beside me, my daughter. I need to tell you something. Her voice was different, more serious, heavier, like someone who's carried a weight for too long and can't take it anymore. I sat on the edge of the bed, curious and worried at the same time. She stood up slowly. She knelt on the floor and pulled the mysterious box from under the bed. My heart raced. After so many years wondering what was inside, I was finally going to find out. Before you open this, she said, you have to promise me one thing. What you're going to see here today, you can't tell your mother, or your aunts, or anyone in the family. But why, Grandma? Because some truths hurt more than lies, and I don't want them to know what kind of man their father was. I felt butterflies in my stomach. What kind of man, Grandma? She opened the box with trembling hands, and what I saw inside changed everything I thought about my family. There were letters, dozens of letters, all in the same handwriting, Grandpa John's handwriting. But they weren't love letters. They were threatening letters. If you leave me, I'll tell the whole town what kind of woman you are. You're going to stay with me because you have nowhere else to go. No decent man would want a woman like you. One after another, all cruel, all humiliating, all signed by the man the entire family thought was her true love. Grandma, my voice came out in a whisper. He beat me, my daughter. He drank and beat me. He said I was no good, that I was ugly, that it was a favor for him to have married me. Tears streamed down her face like summer rain, thick and silent. But why didn't you ever tell me about this? How was I going to tell her? Back then, a woman who was beaten by her husband deserved it. It was her fault. It was her shame. She showed me more things in the box. A torn photo. It was her on her wedding day. But his face was cut out, ripped out in anger. A handkerchief with blood stains. The day he gave me 3 stitches in my forehead, he said it was an accident, that I tripped. A crumpled piece of paper. It was a letter she never sent. A letter to her mother, telling the whole truth, asking for help, begging to come home. Why didn't you ever send it, Grandma? Because Dad said that if I left home, I could never come back. that a married daughter was no longer his responsibility. I understood why she cried alone at night, why she avoided talking about the past, why she was never interested in another man. It wasn't loyalty to Grandpa John. It was trauma. The day he died, Grandma Rosa continued, I felt relief and guilt for feeling relief. What kind of woman is relieved when her husband dies? I held her hand. It was cold and trembling. A woman who suffered a lot, Grandma. A woman who survived. For years, I thought God was going to punish me for not crying at his funeral. Everyone was praising him, saying what a good man he was, what a hard worker he was, what a blessed family. She showed me something else in the box, a small notebook with her notes. Here I wrote down the days he arrived drunk, the days he hit me, the insults. I thought that if I ever ended up in the hospital, I could show it to someone. I flipped through the notebook, page after page of recorded pain, of documented humiliations, of a woman trying to prove to herself that she wasn't going crazy. But you raised 3 wonderful children. How did you do it? Because I swore they would never know what kind of father they had, that they would grow up thinking they came from a happy home, even if it was a lie. It was then that I understood the greatness of that little woman. She not only survived hell, she created heaven for her children. He invented sweet memories of the father they lost early. He told love stories that never existed. He pretended to miss him when he didn't. Also, that they wouldn't carry the pain that she carried. That's why I keep these things, she explained. To remember that I survived, that I was stronger than the pain, and to never forget to thank God every day for setting me free. Grandma, you are the bravest woman I know. I wasn't brave, daughter. I just didn't have a choice. When life gets tough, we discover strengths we didn't even know we had. She showed me the last thing in the box, a blue ribbon, small, faded. I wore this ribbon in my hair when I was a girl, before I got married, when I still dreamed of Prince Charming. He held the ribbon carefully. There are days when I pick it up and remember who I was, the girl who believed in happy endings. And then I'm grateful for becoming the woman who managed to create her own happy ending. We cried together that rainy afternoon. She releasing 60 years of silence. I discovering that heroism sometimes resides in what we don't say. After that conversation, I began to see Grandma Rosa in a different light. Her every gesture took on new meaning. The loving way he treated his grandchildren, his infinite patience with children's tantrums, his hand always ready to caress and comfort. She was giving them all the love she never received. The stove was always lit. The table was always set. The door was always open for anyone who needed it. She was creating the warm home she never had. The long prayers before bed, the sincere gratitude for each day, the unwavering faith of those who have seen miracles happen. She knew what it was like to be saved. "Do you know why I cook so much?" he asked me one day. "Why, Grandma?" "Because food made with love heals the wounds of the soul, and I want everyone who comes here to leave more whole." I understood that her kitchen was a hospital, and she, the nurse who healed with chicken soup and cornmeal cake. Grandma Rosa lived another 15 years after that conversation. 15 years in which our relationship grew deeper and truer. I was the only person in the family who knew her whole story, the only one who understood why she was sometimes too quiet, why she avoided certain songs, why she didn't like men shouting around her, and also the only one who saw her true strength. Not the strength everyone admired, that superficial strength of the single-parent woman, but the real strength, deep, silent, the strength of a woman who transformed trauma into tenderness, pain into compassion, silence into wisdom. When she died, I was the one who organized her things. I was the one who decided what to do with the mysterious box. I burned Grandpa John's cruel letters. She didn't need to take them to her grave, but I kept the blue ribbon, the notebook, the torn photo, not as a reminder of pain, but as proof of victory. Because Grandma Rosa taught me that we can choose which story to tell about our own lives. And she chose to be remembered, not for the pain she suffered, but for the love she gave. If you've made it this far, it's because you understand that some stories need to be told, that behind every silent grandmother, there may be a force we never imagined. Grandma Rosa taught me that true love sometimes lives in what we don't say, in what we protect, in what we carry alone so others don't have to. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment telling us about a strong person in your family, someone who kept secrets to protect those they loved. And subscribe to the channel to receive more stories that reveal the hidden strength of ordinary people, because everyone has a box under their bed. Everyone has secrets that explain who they've become. In the next episode, I'll tell you about the embroidered handkerchief Grandma Rosa left me, and about the promise she made me make the day she died. A promise that completely changed the way I view forgiveness. I'll wait for you there, because some stories only make sense when told to the end.